The corridors of Beirut International Airport never truly sleep. Footsteps echo, engines hum, and cargo moves quietly behind the scenes, boxes and suitcases passing through without a second glance. For Officer Nasser and his four-legged partner Jim, it was just another routine patrol. Jim, a seasoned German shepherd with a precise nose and calm demeanor, usually moved with steady confidence. He knew the rhythm of the airport, he knew what danger smelled like, and he knew when nothing was wrong. Until that moment, as they entered the cargo area, Jim slowed. His ears lifted, his body tensed. Ahead of them sat an ordinary-looking crate, shipped from Ukraine and bound for Beirut. Nothing about it stood out to the human eye. No labels of concern, no visible damage. But Jim stopped. Instead of barking or pulling forward as he often did, he crouched low. A soft, uneasy whimper escaped him as he pressed close to the box. His tail moved sharply, signaling urgency, not aggression. Officer Nasser immediately noticed. This wasn't Jim's normal reaction. This was something else. As Nasser examined the crate, he spotted several tiny holes drilled into the sides, almost invisible unless you were looking for them. Jim sniffed near them and recoiled each time, as if struck by a smell too disturbing to process. Years of experience told Nasser not to ignore this. Fearing a possible explosive or hazardous material, he called for the bomb disposal unit. Within minutes, the area was cleared. The crate was moved to an isolated room, and officers watched from behind protective barriers as the bomb squad prepared to investigate. The tension was thick. Jim remained unusually restless, pacing back and forth, eyes locked on the crate. His behavior made it clear whatever was inside mattered. After a thorough inspection, the verdict came back. No explosives. A collective breath was released, but the mystery remained. If it wasn't a bomb, then what had triggered Jim's alarm? Officer Nasser leaned closer to the crate and noticed a faint, unfamiliar odor slipping through the tiny holes. It wasn't chemical. It wasn't mechanical. It was alive. The officers exchanged glances. Slowly, carefully, they prepared to open the crate, bracing themselves for whatever they were about to find. None of them were ready for what waited inside. When the lid finally creaked open, the room fell silent. Inside the dusty crate, three small bodies huddled together, startled by the sudden light. Tiny, paws trembled, wide eyes blinked in confusion. For a moment, no one spoke. They were Siberian tiger cubs, dehydrated, weak, their fur matted with dust and waste. It was immediately clear they had been inside that box for far too long. Officer Nasser felt his chest tighten. This wasn't just an airport incident anymore, it was a crime against life. The cubs had been born in a zoo in Ukraine, meant to be traded and transported onward to Damascus. Somewhere along the way, paperwork replaced responsibility. Care was replaced with greed, and living beings were reduced to cargo. Gently, the officers lifted the cubs out, wrapping them in blankets and offering water. The cubs clung to one another, too young to understand what had just saved them or what they had narrowly escaped. Animal control was called immediately. The cubs were transferred to a secure facility where veterinarians and caretakers worked tirelessly to stabilize them. They were given names: Maya, Tanya, and Anton, names that marked a new beginning. Recovery wasn't instant. It required patience, medical care, and something just as important: safety. Slowly, the cubs began to regain strength. Their movements became playful. Their personalities emerged. Curiosity replaced fear. What happened that day sparked something larger than a single rescue. News of the discovery spread quickly, drawing global attention to the dark reality of animal trafficking. Behind countless shipments like that crate are stories of suffering animals torn from their mothers, crammed into tight spaces, deprived of food, water, and basic dignity. Many never survive the journey. Wildlife trafficking doesn't just harm animals. It damages ecosystems, fuels extinction, and poses serious risks to human health through the spread of disease. And yet, it continues quietly, profitably, invisibly, until someone notices. That day, Jim noticed. Because of his instincts, 3 lives were spared. Because of human compassion, those lives were given a future. As Maya, Tanya, and Anton took their first steps toward a safer life, they became symbols of resilience and reminders of responsibility. Protecting wildlife doesn't begin in forests or savannas. Sometimes, it begins in the most unexpected places, like an airport corridor. And sometimes, all it takes to change a story is a good dog who refuses to walk away.